Greetings. Yesterday I posted an episode, number 35, I believe, about listening. And today it only stands to reason that I'm going to talk about, well, talking. And how you may be surprised that through just a little bit of talk, you can accomplish amazing things. Now, when I'm talking about talking, I'm talking about actually networking. And here is why it's so important. Now, you see, it shouldn't be any secret by now that I have a decidedly, let's say, non corporate bent to me. And I don't want to be that misconstrued or misunderstood that I'm anti American, not in any way. I simply am non corporate and non oligarch. So, because of that, I want to put this together to just talk about talking, networking. Now, let me give you a pure example of something personal that happened to me. And to use this example to show you the importance of just talking to complete strangers. Now, if you happen to be one of those people that the thought of hell talking to, or for that matter, even saying hello to a stranger, if that completely, puts you into a state of terror, well, I don't exactly know and right now what to say about that. But what I can tell you is this: it is something so positive that it will enable you to basically do some very amazing things in your life. Okay? Okay. So here's my real world personal example of this. You see, what I do as part of my networking is I completely strike up conversations whenever the opportunity comes my way of just talking and maybe just a little bit getting to know complete strangers. Now, for one thing, it's good because who knows, that can lead to potential friendship. And I don't see anything wrong with that. But on a purely practical level, you will find it immensely helpful in your life. So, like I said, let me just give you this example. You see, at one point, I needed to sell a car. And the car that I wanted to sell was in very good condition, mechanically and otherwise. And its appearance, well, it was relative to its age and year, you know. But it was not beyond the point at all that a professional detail wouldn't help me to sell it for the price that, I thought it was worth. The problem is thus: most quote unquote professional detailers, particularly of the corporate type, uh, yeah, they want quite a penny to do this. And I'm talking anywhere between, depending, it could be in the $300 to $400 range. And that's more than this old cowboy can afford. So if you can relate to that, listen up. Now, uh, at any opportunity, I don't care where I'm at, doesn't matter. I can be standing in line at the grocery store, anywhere there's people and I'm in line. I I start up a conversation. Hi, how do you do? And if something, seems comfortable and it ensues, depending on how much time I have, of course, I'll say something like, tell me, Johnny, or whatever their name may be, what do you do for a living? And that is the catch point. And typically, they don't mind telling you what they do for a living. And in one particular case, one guy said, well, I'm a plumber. And it's like, okay. So very quickly, I know and I recognize I don't need a plumber, at least not now. But then he added, he says, and I detail cars on the side. And then my ears perked up. And I said, really? And I said, hey, I might have a job for you. Might you be interested? And he said, sure. So after we got out of line at the grocery store, we talked for a few minutes and exchanged some information. And I told him what I was needing, and he said, "Yeah, I'm definitely interested." And so the guy ended up detailing my car, and he did a damn good job. I mean, a superb job. He knocked, 10 years off the car. It looked back, I mean, really looked good. Now, he's not a body man paint job. It isn't all that. It had, the usual, let's say, road rash, a little bit of road rash on the front of the vehicle. He was not there to correct that, but just to make it as, say, new as new could be. And that included the engine compartment. And that's what I hired him to do it, and that's what he ended up doing. And instead of the $350 and $400 quotes that I got, he did it for $175. And like I said, he did a damn good job. Now, I was able to achieve that by talking to a stranger. Ooh. And this is what I'm talking about in right now, is about how to do that, and how it is a huge advantage to you. Obviously, if you're wanting and needing to save a hell of a lot of money, and you can apply that technique to virtually just about anything. So it's like the old adage, the squeaky wheel gets greased. You have to have the will and the desire to do that, and you may go through hell, 5, 10, 15, 20 people, and nothing happens until something does. And in my case, something did. Um, this is my way, as I say, being a non-corporatist, that, you know, not only do I obviously save money, but I get money into the hands of people that actually need it, deserve it, and not into the hands of corporations. There, there you go. So that's just one, small example of what I'm talking about. Because as the economy spirals down, and it's going to continue to spiral down, because the people are in the midst of being, how do I say, robbed on a level that's, well, unimaginable to me. And you're going to have to develop, because of this, you're going to have to develop these kinds of connections. You're going to have to actually talk to people, and you're going to have to float part of your life under the radar. Okay? The same thing applies to a mechanic. I have a very, very good mechanic, and I was able to get this mechanic using the same technique. And it's just one of those deals that you first have to recognize what potentially, a person is, what their line of work may be. You don't know, but you're guessing. You don't know until you ask. But that's the whole point. You have to ask. You have to want to do something active, proactive, to cover your ass. Because at the end of the day, what matters is your ass and his ass, whoever his ass may be. what you've done is you've circumvented the corporation, and you've helped just an average person with their life and helping them to survive. It's a win-win situation. But once you've achieved this, once you have these people on your line, so to speak, you never want to go back to Firestone, as I call them, fire criminals. Um, yeah, at anything that I get done, and you know, again, just briefly to touch on cars again, you know, if it's something super duper complex or technical, um, certain areas they simply cannot do because they don't have the machinery to do it, let's say. So if you're talking, for instance, tires, and he may be a great mechanic, but he doesn't have a tire balancer. He doesn't have the means to do that, to, install and balance tires, then that kind of leaves that part out. But some guys do. Again, it's all depending on, who you meet and all that. But for most stuff, most of it, you can get it done on your car for about the third of the cost of the super special team of corporate bigwigs with the HAL 5000 computers and all that nonsense. And also, if they're decent, competent people, they guarantee their work. Again, old school, a handshake. And because, bear in mind, they want more work too. And so again, it's a win-win situation. These are what you'd call off the radar or underground techniques of, you know, surviving, of helping yourself to survive, and also, as I said before, to help them survive. But it requires talking. It requires talking to people. Some of these people, for instance, they may be listed, let's say, on Craigslist. That doesn't make them evil. It doesn't make them necessarily crooks or criminals. There's a lot of them out there, and you simply have to check them out. But that is the entire point, is that you have to be willing to do that and engage with people to accomplish this, and it's really a good thing. Now, if you're people of, let's say, you have lots and lots of money, which very very few of us do these days, but if that's the case, it's a very viable alternative, and frankly, it's a very ethical alternative, because the rates that the corporate machine is charging to fix cars is just obscene. It's just beyond that. It's criminal. It's actually criminal. So, that is just one example of talking to people, and again, it's through networking, and this can apply to, and be very open-minded, this can be just about anything. But you can't, in order to do that, you can't sit back like a little protective, frightened mouse and standing there, and you won't say a fucking word to anyone because you're perpetually frightened. You're frightened of everything. Everything frightens you. If I speak to a person, yeah, if you speak to someone, what's the worst they can say? Oh no, I don't do that. Okay, then there you go. You move to the next one. So, anyway, I hope you found this helpful or interesting. And if you have any questions about this or any of my other episodes, you can reach out to me via my contact link in the description below. And if you really want to give me a compliment, besides, well, hitting that subscribe button, telling a friend about the show would be the best compliment you could ever give me. Until next time, this is Ernest, And that's all I've got for today.